Welcome, friends. Today, I have toothache. Ouch. But we are also reviewing Promise by Frédéric Malle. Wonderful. I haven't done a review for a while, and if I remember correctly, and there's no guarantee that I do, I tell you the notes, and then I tell you what notes I get, and then I just ramble on about the perfume for a while. And this seems to work for me. So that's basically what I'm going to do. First, I'll tell you how I came to own this perfume. I smelled it either last year or the year before, about this time of year. It was January, February time. And I smelled it in the shop and I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I noticed that it was definitely the cheapest of the lot of the Desert Gems anyway. And I was like, well, not that this perfume's cheap, but I thought, well, the night's kind of cool and I would like to own the night. Less because it smells nice and more because it's weird and it's interesting. And it does kind of smell like shit spreading. Like when farmers spread shit on fields. That's kind of what it smells like. Like one of my friends described it as smelling like the countryside, which was, I thought it was totally perfect when she said that. I was like absolutely spot on. This was after this was after I sprayed it on her. I think she might have rubbed it off, but that's another. I think I've told that story before. So I was in the shop and I smelled this and I was like, "Oh, I really like that. I might come back and get that." And I went home and did a little bit of research, as you do. I was on Fragrantica and I was on like YouTube because I don't have the other access to the fragrance community like Instagram and all that sort of thing. So I went on and I watched Fragrance Journey's review, and I just listened to him talk about it, and I thought, you know what it is, I'm gonna have to have this. And I went back and bought it, and there's a huge difference between smelling something in the shop and enjoying it and smelling something at home and enjoying it. When you're at home, you're in your little cave and you're sort of like alone and away from the world, and you can be like honest with yourself and not be like easily impressed and swayed by like sales associates or like marketing and like, you know, the layout of the counter and stuff like that. And so I was at home and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? This is kind of weird. I'm not sure I like it. I knew there was something there though. I knew there was something that I liked and that I thought was funky and that I thought it had personality. You know how they choose models? Like they don't necessarily choose the prettiest models. They choose the ones that are the most sort of like, they've got that pull, they've got that X factor, for lack of a better term. They've got that pull, that personality, but in their face. That's what this has got. It's not the prettiest perfume. It's not the easiest to wear. But it's got personality. It attracts you in like a weird way, you know? So I was, and I thought to myself, yeah, that's brilliant, fantastic. And in the intervening time, I have gone from about full to halfway between the top of the sticker and the top. So I've actually used quite a lot of that. I would say I've used about 15 mil of that, 10, 15 mil probably, which is a lot because you only need one or two sprays of this. If you spray more than that, you'll get done under some like nuclear test ban treaty or something because the performance is wild. It's insane. This is easily my best performing perfume. Perfume. This is easily my best performing perfume. Try saying that. Madness. How much it performs. It lasts all day, mate. It's madness. It lasts all day, and you can still smell it when you go to sleep. And frankly, I bet you could probably still smell it the next day if you didn't have a wash. And even then, if you had a wash, you might still be able to smell it. It's one of them. It's very synthetic, but brilliantly synthetic. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I've done the review backwards, haven't I? I've been talking about it rather than telling you the notes and then what I get in that. Anyway, completely contradicted myself. Anyway, I'll tell you the notes now. So the top notes are apple, particularly green apple, pink pepper, and rosemary. The middle notes are Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, and clove. The base notes are cypriol oil, or nagamotha, as it is sometimes known, patchouli, labdanum, castoreum, and ambroxan. Now, the huge notes that I get from it: apple, the rose, or roses, and the cypriol oil, or nagamotha. Nagamotha? You've got to be careful where you put that R in. Nagamotha. Right. So, they're the notes I get from it. Now, let us tell you how I sort of experience it. When you spray it, right, I can't spray it because I'm not wearing it today, and if I fucking do spray it, it'll fucking stink of it all day. Even if you spray it in the air, if like a couple of particles get on you, you're in trouble. But, oh my God, you can smell from the cap. It's brilliant. So it starts out with this massive apple, right? And this apple kind of sticks around for the whole perfume. It gets gentler. I don't know if that's a word. More gentle, softer, but it never truly goes away. It's a big synthetic apple. You can't tincture an apple. You can't have like a natural apple ingredient, but you can have an apple that smells natural as a note. So I get that apple softening all the way through it. And it starts off huge and it remains huge for a long time, frankly. And it's just sort of like at the top, it's supported by the rosemary and the pink pepper they're sort of blown away by this apple, but you can tell they're there. There's like this haze around the apple, like a little bit of support, like a little bit cloudy, a little bit hazy. It sort of takes the edge off the apple, gives it a little bit more it becomes more forgiving, the apple. And then about half an hour to an hour, you start getting the rose, which is a long time for a top note to last. I mean, half an hour for one note to go on like that is massive. And you start to get the roses, or the rose notes. And they feel like a plinth, right? The image I've got in my mind, right, is of a planet, right? A planet, like a foreign planet. And it's huge and round, right? Like a planet is. And on this planet is a plinth, right? And the plinth is made of these two roses, right? And at the top of these two roses, the heads of the buds sit together. And on top of the head of the buds is this huge apple, right? And that's what it feels like. It feels like the apple is held aloft by these two huge roses. And then the roses run like down all the way to the ground. And rose and apple sort of goes together. They've got that greenness that can be like a little red. You've got the stem of the rose as well. You've got like the juice from the inside of the rose. So the juiciness of the apple runs down through the center of the rose, and they're intermingling, and you can smell them. And then the rose runs into the ground, and the ground is made up of this another huge note, of cypriol, which is supported by the other base notes like patchouli, labdanum, and castoreum. I'll come on to the ambroxan in a minute. And it feels like the planet is made like a planet of cypriol oil, or nagamotha. That's what it feels like the whole ground is. The apple's the most remarkable thing on the planet, and it sticks out the most. But then you've got you've got the rose and you've got the two roses, which are like a plinth holding up the apple, running into the ground, which is the Nagamotha. Like the planet is like a Nagamotha planet, and that's all there is on the planet. The cypriol are so dry, it's arid, it's almost dusty. It's almost like an incense. The patchouli adds to that as well. The patchouli makes it darker, like the ground. Like when you've got like a garden and you dig the garden and it's been dry, and the topsoil is really dry and dusty, but then you dig down a little bit and there's moisture in the soil. That's what the patchouli is. The patchouli is like the moisture in the Nagamotha, saving it from being too dry. I used to think it was the apple saving the Nagamotha from being too dry, but it's not. It's the patchouli. The patchouli in this is ever so slightly damp, and it just stops the Nagamotha from becoming caustic. When you throw like lye on a body to like make it decompose quickly, it's like that caustic powder. That's what the Nagamotha in this is like. It's like caustic stuff. Like if you got it on your skin, it would burn straight through. It doesn't, but that's the effect it gives. The patchouli, I suppose the labdanum as well. Labdanum gives it like that sort of like furry sort of thing. Less definition, like the further you go down into the ground, like the deeper and the more moisture stored there. And that's sort of like what I get from it. I'll come on to the ambroxan now. I don't like ambroxan as a note. This uses ambroxan brilliantly. This is not a blue fragrance by any means at all. Not even close. But the apple, the rose, and the cypriol are all boosted by the use of the ambroxan. They're all made to shine, almost like aldehydes. It's got that boost, that sort of like that shine, that effervescence, that sort of, is that the word? Effervescence. That's a band, isn't it? Effervescence. It's got that, like, not like a fizz. At the top, it's almost like a fizz, like an overly sparkling apple juice. It's got that, but the use of the ambroxan here is absolutely genius. I didn't know it could be done. I didn't know it was a thing. Do you know what I mean? I thought ambroxan, spit, like ambroxan, rotten, bad. Because when you think ambroxan, you just think of all these horrible, shitty, fucking blue fragrances that are out there all the time, and it's just ambroxan with a little bit of shower gel in it. But this, the way that Dominic Ropion's used ambroxan in this is genius. It's brilliant. It's so huge and so massive, and it suits the perfume down to the ground. With the apple, when I think apple, I think of DKNY, the apple-shaped one. I don't hate that. I don't hate that perfume. I would never wear it, but I quite like the smell of it. It would be a nice, like, room fragrance, I suppose. Yeah. It's I like an apple. I know Eugene doesn't like an apple, but I quite like an apple. And this is fantastic. This is my favourite of the Desert Gems. It's also the cheapest. Thank God. I'm glad I didn't pay for the night. I think you can get Reludes, Atars and stuff like that are better than the night for like 30 quid, 40 quid. I mean, you're not getting 100 mil, but you know what I mean. If you want to experience that level, like, you can get them. They are out there. So yes, how do I rate this perfume? I don't know that I do 10 out of 10s and stuff like this, but this is one of my favourite perfumes for autumn and winter. The idea of wearing this in summer is just perverse. Insane. You wouldn't, you shouldn't. Don't. For your own sake and everyone else's. As I say, the United Nations will come after you for breaking some kind of fucking chemical ban, nuclear weapons ban treaty or something. It's far too powerful. I don't think you'll ever bump into anyone wearing this. It's one of those perfumes. I absolutely love it. One of my top picks for winter. as far as something that I wear, that I enjoy wearing as well. When you've got a huge collection, I try to utilize mine as much as humanly possible. So I don't wear it as much as I possibly could or should or would. But I do wear it and I do enjoy it. And I'd be surprised if I ever used up this entire bottle. That said, I'm going through it quite well. Considering the performance, I've used a lot of this. So maybe I will need to replace it one day. I can't buy a backup yet, surely. No. Anyway, thank you. I have been quiet this week. I haven't made a video since Sunday. Mainly because of toothache and jaw ache and headache, ball ache, which is a ball ache. Anyway, thank you very much. I will see you again soon. Goodbye.